Hello, this is the Nature Speak podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Lover, and thank you for tuning in. Awesome episode coming up. We got Heather Stevens of DeerAge.com joins Kevin and I. We have a fantastic conversation. Mind blown the entire time. We did have some technical difficulties, so the first part of the podcast was a little bit missed. Can't fix the Wi-Fi. Not sure what the issue was there, but either way, you're going to catch the majority of the podcast that was recorded. It's awesome. It's fun. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. She's got a little deal going on right now until Father's Day, but you have to listen in to hear what that deal is.
Talking about. Oh, it's just aging how I'm doing it, right?
Now it says record. Yeah, it's
you're
okay.
right. You're right. That dot is gone. So I don't know how much of that. So you will have to edit this video more than you usually do.
Oh no. Oh gee. Oh no, this is embarrassing. Well, I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right, we're back.
We'll start over.
We'll start over. Sorry about that.
So what am I looking at under the microscope, you might ask?
Yeah, great. Thank you for bringing that up.
You might ask that. So it is just like aging a tree, right? When you cut a tree in half and you can see all of the lines on the tree, it's exactly like that, but we have to go through many, many steps to get to that process, right? So we have to remove the calcium from the bone. They go through several pieces of equipment. We have skilled technicians, obviously, that are cutting these. And then we have a proprietary stain that we've worked up to make sure that the lines are extra dark. So getting to the slide is really the hardest part. But once we look at the slide, it is just as simple as aging a tree.
Wow.
Just count. If you can count. Sometimes it's hard, though. I will say, I have had some really old deer back when I had just a regular microscope. Now we have a digital slide scanner, which I hate to brag, but it's pretty cool. I really geeked out when we got that thing. But previously, I would look through the microscope all day, burning my retinas. And it was really hard to age super old deer because the lines wouldn't fit in the field that the scope could do. So I'd have to kind of like come up with like a mental marker of what line I'm leaving off on and then move the slide and then count again. And I was like, oh, so I'd have to do it so many times to try to make sure. And now with the digital slide scanner, I can just do any magnification that I want. And I can help the contrast a little if I need to make sure that it's dark enough. So it's been a joy.
So this digital scanner, is it just a wider range, wider field of view then?
Yeah,
All the above?
It's basically like it creates a microscope with different images, right? So it'll start in a really low magnification and piece those together, and then it works its way up. And then so you just zoom in and out with your mouse, and it's really, really nice. And it helps my eyes a lot, because when we got really, really busy, I would go to sleep. I would read slides for like 8 hours a day. And then when I would go to sleep, I would like close my eyes and see the lines in my eyes. I would like see deer teeth in my eyes like all night long. And I'm like, I'm burning these images onto my eyeballs. So yeah, we got a slide scanner. It's been amazing. I love it. I can pull up slides on my phone. It's super cool.
Wow, oh, that's awesome. Now, has this kind of opened up your capacity for how many samples you can get in? Like I guess another question following up with that is, how many samples are you seeing a year?
So it really varies depending on like how many different states are sending to us. But like last year we did 20,000 teeth. So it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's busy. It's a lot. And that's on top of our other work that we do. So yeah, it is a lot. But yeah, it just really varies year to year. Sometimes there's like really like weird weather patterns, and it'll be like a slow year or a really good year because of the weather patterns, So it's kind of all over the place, particularly for retail. With the states, it's fairly consistent. We get stuff every spring. So
How many different states have you shipped to or had ship in? What's the demographic like?
So for retail customers, we've had people in almost every single state. I would have to look, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing it's at least like 48 of the states. Like we have definitely had somewhere from everywhere. The actual like state contracts, we only have one current contract, but we've done 4 or 5 different states. So yeah, it just kind of depends on how often they're saving them or what their projects are.
Very neat. Very neat.
Yeah, it's really fun. And we have ironclad systems in our lab because we're just handling such large volume. I mean, between the teeth and all of our research slides and all of our, forensic work that we're doing, we have really high volume. So we have to make sure that we have tight systems, and so I think that a lot of people just think small, that like, oh, I'll recognize your sample or I'll be able to look for your sample. And it's like, you got to get a barcode, bro. I don't know what's going on with your sample. I can't look through all this pile, but we try our best to just like help people. And I have a decent memory. So I'll kind of like watch out for people if I can,
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure people, because if they've never done it before, they just like, oh, send it to this address without going through the instructions of ordering the kit. And maybe you can kind of touch base on that kit a little bit and how you're able to kind of track it the whole way through the process.
Yeah, and a little bit of like why we moved to that. So essentially when I first took over Deer Age, they had I would say probably a more, in some ways, easier for the customer process. And you would print off a PDF pamphlet and just fill that out with your writing and what you're sending and things like that. And then you would wrap them up however you wanted. Well, when we took over, that was the system. And there was numerous human error from labeling, like hand labeling. And then there was lots and lots of writing we couldn't read. So we were unable to deliver results. It was not sustainable. And then everything has to have an ID number in the laboratory. So we're assigning these things ID numbers, but the customer doesn't know they have an ID number. So they're like, oh, I'm so-and-so when they call. Well, I got to go dig through 10, 12 boxes of paperwork and try to figure out when so-and-so's tooth came in. It was like hours on end, and it was just not sustainable for a large laboratory to be doing that. So we needed to switch to, for sure, some sort of online portal. And I just quickly implemented the easiest thing that I was able to do technologically and put in order forms online. And that did help a little bit, but really it still wasn't enough to handle the volume. So we transitioned to a custom software where it has a central database. So each customer will have their own portal. Every single deer has its own ID number. And so we have this process called redeeming your kit. So when you check out, you buy a kit and you're like, oh, I want my results in 1 week or whatever. You can choose to buy that kit at any time of the year and then put your deer's information in later, right? And then you have to go on and redeem the kit in your account. So you go into your account, you enter the barcode number, and now that barcode belongs to that deer. So then when it comes in, it's all gone through. So people have kind of struggled with the concept of like how to redeem their kits or what it even is, or did I do it, did I not? So we try to help them through that process. I will say it's gotten a lot better, but not having human labeling has just amplified the process. I think that when we first started with the paper system, we were able to check in maybe 10 to 12 teeth an hour. And now we can do well over 100 an hour.
Oh, wow.
That's so cool.
That's a huge difference.
Huge difference, yes. And it's just necessary. I mean, we're not going to be able to handle massive volume without really ironclad systems. And so it was a difficult transition for some of the customers who were used to that older system. They're like, I don't want to go online. I don't want to wait for a kit. Everybody's like, I don't want to wait for a kit. Well, the old way that they were doing it, the fastest turnaround time, or the slowest, the basic service was 120 days. So it was 4 months long. Just by doing it with the kit, we shaved a whole month off the slowest service. So
Wow.
yeah, you're waiting for your kit, but you're still saving a month. And our system backdates by 1 week. So if you buy a basic kit, it's a 90-day kit. We ship it out. Sometimes it's delayed. People forget that there's holiday mail during November, December. So the mail's a little slow, But then once we get it, it backdates a whole week anyways. So you're definitely getting around the time of your stuff. And then For the platinum kits, the ones that come in, those are every single week. So it shows up, we get it checked in on Monday, you'll have a result by Friday every single time. So it's very fast. But like if it shows up on Wednesday, we're checking it in on Monday and getting it out by Friday. So it's approximately 7 days total. It should be the maximum.
Wow. That's impressive. Those are impressive numbers.
Yeah,
to have 20,000 samples a year that's quite a feat there.
Yeah, and you just have to have a way to track everything without getting anything mixed up, you know, and that's where the barcodes are just critical to make sure that nothing's ever getting mixed up. I mean, do you know how many like people with the same last name we have? Like it's a lot. I don't want to name names, but there is a name that we have a lot of that name. And it's like, oh my gosh, I would never be able, we even have people with the same first and last name.
So there's no way other than the barcode to know.
I need to know that barcode, yeah, because as soon as I go in the system, I type that number in, bam, it pulls it up. I know it's you. I know who I'm talking to. I know what I'm dealing with their tooth. And so it's really critical to keep it all straight.
That's very cool. And at least the experience I had, the communication was really, it was awesome. I thought the whole experience was very, very cool. It was very personable. And from the experience I had, to think that you have 20,000 samples a year is very mind blowing. So kudos to you. What a cool experience it was. And do you have? I guess you're probably getting a lot of the same returning customers. You were mentioning you probably have a lot of the same people that they're sending in samples every year.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very neat. Now, is there one of the questions I had, and one of the things I was kind of worried about was, how long, what's that time period between whenever the tooth is pulled to when it's sent in? Is there a time frame of like, hey, if I've had it for, a month or 3 weeks or a year even, is there a time frame of which it's not going to work?
No, I mean, I would say the only exception to that would be like if it had sat out in the sun for several years, like over 8 years. I've aged a tooth that sat outside for 5 to 6 years, and it was very sun bleached, but we did get an age on it. So aside from that one instance of the sun kind of ruining the sample, really damaging it, if you just had it in your house or in a bag or whatever, like it's fine. It's not going to degrade unless it turns into a fossil too. That's the only other caveat. We can't age fossils. That requires special equipment that we don't have. So other than those two things, yeah, there's no time limit. The only thing I'll say is if you don't immediately take the teeth out, it is harder to extract them once the jaw kind of dries up. So you run the risk of breaking them. We do offer removal service for $5. So if you're like, I just don't really want to take them out, I'm worried about it, you can saw off the jaw about 2 inches back from the teeth to make sure you don't sever the roots, and we'll just take it out for you. And if you forget and you're like, oh, and you break one off, we can automatically charge your card the $5. So just stuff the whole thing in there. We charge the card, we move on. It's just like part of that throughput that, we don't really have time to be calling every single customer and be like, oh, we need to take your $5. We put it in our terms and conditions that like, hey, if you send the wrong sample, it's just automatically charged to your order. And it just keeps it flowing through. We'll take the right sample and we'll just get your age going as quick as we can.
And that makes it very easy, I guess, to be like, even if like for someone for their first time, just being like, all right, I'm just going to cut this thing off and ship it all.
And there's some people who just don't like doing it. They just don't like extracting the teeth. So they're like, it's worth the $5 to me.
Right. Right. And like, speaking of fossils, what's the oldest deer you've ever aged?
So I think I've been asked this a lot in podcasts, and I'm pretty sure it was 22 and a half. It was a doe.
Oh my God.
Pennsylvania. Yeah. And that's one of them ones that I had to count like probably 300 times because I had my microscope at the time and not my digital slide scanner. But I've since looked at it with the digital slide scanner, and it's great. It's a great tooth. I did good. I feel confident still, and it's great. But
22, I'm like thinking you're going to say like 10, 11.
I see 10, 11 on a daily. So honestly, it's not as uncommon as people think. And that's what's really exciting. And I love it when people get a deer that's like 12 years old and they're like, oh my God, is this like the oldest deer you've ever aged? And I'm like, I wish I could give you that trophy, but I actually see this all the time, you know. They do get old. And I think that one of the things, I don't know if you know, I am not a hunter. Yeah, I know, I've never hunted in my life. I'm kind of a city girl. So I didn't really know a lot about this when I first started. My dear husband has educated me a lot. But I read a lot. Obviously, that's what I do, right? I'm a scientist. I read a lot. I did a lot of research. And a lot of things online were like, okay, you wanna get a deer between like 5.5 and 6.5, and that's your target for like the
Right.
biggest rack or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. Like now I know that. I know what they're after. But as I've gone along, I'm just like, no, there's no way. I'm talking 7 to 9 to 10 to 11 even. And it obviously changes based on your area. But I think because molar wear aging has been so inaccurate that a lot of those older deer have been grouped in that like 4 to 5-year-old range, right? And I know there's biologists that are going to come for me. I'm just used to the hate at this point. I don't even care. But what I see is massive deer that are 8, 9 years old, 10 years old. And I'm just kind of like, there's no way. And the first trigger, I remember the deer. It was a girl named Abby who sent in a deer. They thought it was like 5.5 or 6.5. And it came back. It was huge. Okay. Unless she was a midget, which I'm pretty sure she wasn't. It was massive. And it was 11.5 years old. And it blew my mind. It blew my mind. I started thinking there's just no way that this is true. Like, obviously it's going to vary by area, right? So there's that. But in some areas, these things get really, really old and they really don't decline that much until much later in their years.
Wow. And that's like going off of everything that I read and see, and everyone's like, oh, well, this was his shed from 7 to or 6.5. Next year, he's not going to be as big. He's going to start going downhill. And you have disproved that. Or
I will say it's possible. I mean, I'm not going to say, oh, for sure won't, but you know, I think that's why if you age all the time, you're going to learn. You're going to learn what you could, if you had the ability, like this, the scientist in me is starting to come out. So watch yourselves. But if you had the ability to just like keep tracking that same deer without anybody else shooting him, and like make sure it was the same deer, and then he started to decline, now you could kill him and age the tooth, and you'd be like, oh, okay, this is how old when they start to decline, right? So in my area. So it's really exciting. One of my motivators, in addition to tracking our high volume for putting in a central database, is to be able to keep this data. So when we had a paper-based system, there's no database, right? I didn't know what the oldest deer we ever aged was. I don't know. You know, it's in a pile of paper somewhere. So with the central database, I can pool all of that data. I can look at specific regions, and obviously we're relying on our customers. It's all self-reported, right? So there's customers out there that try to trick us all the time, and they're like, oh, I think this deer's, 2.5 and it's only 80 pounds or whatever, and it's like a 9-year-old deer. And I'm just like, whatever, dude. So that could throw off the data, but overall, we can now, based on what the customers are inputting for weight and score and area and things like that, we can kind of throw out some of those outliers and reasonably deduce like different sizes. And that's some of what we're working on with our software, is trying to just get better data for people so that what we're doing is not just fun, it's really usable.
Right.
I would love more than anything to see that data.
Yeah,
well, I think that is absolutely fantastic. I think that is so cool that you're able to you're generating this database. I think that is absolutely I think that's awesome. I am that's very, very cool. I think to be able to see that data by region, by state, by species, I think that is going to be so cool to sit back and see. And I don't know how many years of data that you've been able to collect. I can't remember exactly when you said you got that digital system, but over a 5-year period or a 10-year period, how cool that is going to be, and how special that really is, because you're going to be the only one with that type of data.
Yeah, and it is really cool. It is really fun. We've played with it a little bit already. Like I said, we're still developing the system. I had never done a custom software system. I didn't really know what to expect. So I was overpromised and far, far, far under-delivered with our first developer. I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of sleep. I lost a lot of hair. It was a very traumatic, actually, I will say the word traumatic. It was a traumatic experience putting in the custom software. And I'm in the process of having it redeveloped with a new developer. So I spent all this time, all this money, and we have to do it all over again. It wasn't good. There's glitches, there's problems. It works, obviously, right? But there's just little things that it was just very underdeveloped. So at least it was a learning experience. And now I know a lot more things about what I do want, what I want for the customers. There's just more data. There's certain stuff you guys can't edit on your end. Chris, you've been in there, you can't edit once you put it in, and there's just certain things we want you to be able to edit. Some people send off their stuff to get scored, so they just put in a close score, and then they want to go back and change it. We have to do that for them. But with the new system, we don't want that to happen. We want you to be able to go in and change those types of things on your own. And just some of those types of things, and more of your own data, so you can track some of your own metrics for individual hunts. And so, it was a learning experience, and I'm looking forward to the new product that we're putting together and getting it over with so I can actually start adding new things and not just reworking old software. So that's what we've been working on, and it's going well now.
I could 100% see outfitters using that type of data for their specific area. Like, hey, this is the deer we submitted, showing a customer, hey, look, this is the age class of deer that you're going to be able to possibly harvest. I see just so many, I guess my mind's just kind of racing here. I'm like, I see so many benefits and so many people able to utilize that, not only for scientific reasons, but for financial reasons, or for, I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and we really want to kind of turn our portal into more of a planning portal as well, so that you can start, using some of your own data to plan your future hunts as well. So we have some great things kind of in the works. I don't know how soon it's going to be done, but it's definitely getting really close. It's exciting.
For dates of popular harvest dates, and wow, boy.
And we're doing moon phase and temperature and what weapon you used, and a trail camera uploading area, so you can kind of keep track of different deer that you're looking after. So yeah, we have some big things planned for the system. I wish it would have been done sooner. I wish it would have been done right the first time. I wish I hadn't spent so much and gotten so little, but that's in the past now. We're turning it around, and I think our customers are going to be super stoked. I did do a secret reveal to one individual from a well-known hunting company. I won't name names. And he was like, that's so cool. So I was like, yay, it's cool. So I really think it's great. I think it's super cool. I just want it to be more fun and engaging for people, and really be able to use the system, not just get an age, right? That's too boring. You need to be able to use it for something.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm very, very pumped about the future that I'm hearing about. I think that's that's super neat. Now,
hey, Chris, did you get our email about the Father's Day thing, or no? It might be going to your spam. I don't know, because we're going to send an email announcing that stuff when it comes out.
Chris? This is terrible. It happened again. I'm sorry.
I thought you raised to check your email.
Me too. That's what I thought he was doing.
I don't know. Did I get it?
I'm still recording. So
yep.
I started recording. Oh, that was super funny.
Yeah.
So did you get our email?
Yeah, so still waiting for an answer here, Chris.
Out again. I can't stop laughing. That's so funny. The poor guy.
This is terrible. This is so bad. We've done 13 podcasts now, and this is the first time we've ever had this issue.
Honestly, I'm just really glad. I kind of had a long day. I had surgery last week, so I've been in recovery, and I'm like, oh, the week I get back when one of my key staff members is on vacation, let's run a big sale. Yeah, that's a good idea. So I've been like on my feet, and I came home just like really tired. So just like getting a little bit of a good laugh has been great. I appreciate it. I'm so sorry it's at your expense.
It's well deserved, I guess. It's deserved.
So did you get the email?
No.
What did I say? Email?
No, she was asking about if you got the email about the Father's Day stuff.
Oh, I did. I
Okay.
did get the email. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that part, so that's even better.
That's good, because that means that when we do announce the system, you'll get the email for that too. Because you know how spam blockers are. I never know like what does or doesn't get through to people. Even when we tell people their ages are ready, I'm like, oh, I don't know if they get it, but you can always log into your portal and look.
So what are the speaking of like the Father's Day sale and that kind of thing, like the kits, like I was surprised. So I was under the impression like you kill a deer and then you go on and order it and then you get it and this and that. So I could go on right now, order a kit, and then November 10th, I shoot a deer. It's sitting at my house ready to go. I send it in.
Right. That's right. So in our custom software, that was one of the things I wanted, because some people like to give them away. Some people just like to have them on hand. And so I basically wanted it designed so that you could either enter the information right away or enter it later. So there's a little red button that says provide details and one that says later. And if you click later, there's a little disclaimer that pops up just reminding you that you do actually have to do it later. And then you're good to go. So yeah, you can buy all the kits you want and just click later. And then, yeah, there you go.
That's awesome. Because I was fortunate enough to draw a tag in Kansas this year.
Ooh.
So I'm going from PA to Kansas, and that would be like, I guess, a perfect situation where it would be very convenient to order a kit prior to, hoping to be successful out there. And then I could just send it from there instead of having to haul. I guess I could haul part of the jaw back, but like the skull and everything, all the brain matter and all that, driving back across state lines is illegal and stuff like that. So that would be very convenient to be able to already have that on hand.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people like to have them on hand. It is more convenient. And then you have a safe space to put your teeth that you're not going to lose them, right? And I'll just say to you, right when you take them out of a fresh harvest, if you have the kit already, you can put them in the envelope because they dry pretty quickly in there. But if you don't put them in a plastic bag. Put them in a paper envelope and just let them dry out. People always think, oh, put it in a Ziploc because that's just what we use, right? But it actually makes it rot and stink, and it's just horrible. The postal people aren't our biggest fans. But yeah, if you just let it dry out, it's great. And the kit, like the barcoded envelope, it's breathable. So you can stick it in there and it will just dry out. It won't like rot in there. Unless it's a manual, they can kind of get a little funky in there. But
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to have the kits on hand too, because like I said, you have it already, you're ready to go. And this is the biggest sale we've ever done. And honestly, I've just been having so much fun with it. We really haven't had that much time to do marketing and sales and things like that. We're just kind of starting to get around to that just because of everything we've gone through with the software. And even still, like our sales, like not even perfect. We're doing a BOGO sale. So you buy one, get one of anything in our store, but the software can't even handle that. So literally I manually add a double of whatever you buy in the envelope. But I'm like, whatever. Our customers love it. They don't care. Like as long as they get a double, and it's been super fun. Like people are definitely getting really excited about it. It's the biggest sale we've ever done.
Well, that's awesome. Hey, this is perfect timing then. We'll share the heck out of this, or the shit out of this, and everyone will be able to see it. And hopefully, I know for a fact that I can name like 20 people off the top of my head that I know are going to be buying them, because especially with the fact that they can buy it early and not have to worry about it when the time comes. That's really, really, really cool.
It is really cool. It's nice. And then you have the instructions on how to take it out already, so you can kind of look it over and you can read the kit in advance and just make sure you're just looking through everything. The only tip I'll give you too is if you do take out the teeth and then keep them and just set them aside, keep them out of the reach of the dog. You have no idea how many people are like, my dog ate my teeth. It happens enough.
Oh, that's crazy. I could see it. You could have a little bugger doing that. I could see Copper doing that for sure. So
Yeah.
I take my dog to work with me every day, and so he's been around it his whole life. I'll leave like a box of teeth on the ground right by him. He won't even look at them. I'm like, oh, you know, boy. That's your kibble right there. Don't you be messing with that. So yeah, he knows better, but most dogs are like, ooh, goodies.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, like bone in general, dogs go after.
Oh yeah.
So,
anything a little stinky, they'll be after that.
Yeah.
Quick question: how many employees do you have?
So summertime we're running a little bit light. I have myself, my husband, Michaela is our superstar technician, and then Yarrow fills in. Nani was our secretary. She's not with us. We're going to replace her in, I believe, September. There's just, it's summertime's a little bit slow, so we don't really need that many people. And then we also have an employee in Canada, so she handles all of our Canadian samples and like gets them ready for import so that the customers aren't having to deal with that. And then we have a remote employee who does a lot of our deer age posting. That's Amanda. So she helps us out by posting a lot of people's deer on our social media. And then I also have Vipin. Dr. Vipin Sharma came to me, I think maybe 1 to 2 years ago. He is a PhD who did a lot of work with Cementum annuli, and he wanted to work with us because he does work on like the illegal animal trade, right? And so we started working with him, and he's really great. And so he reads a lot of state teeth for us. I've tested him thoroughly. I pretty much read all the retail teeth, but I do send him some retail teeth on occasion when I'm getting a little bit too backed up, and he can read those as well. He's very, very good, and he's very helpful, and he helps us with research projects that we're working on. We are trying to develop different ways to do aging besides just using the teeth. So Vipin's kind of flagshipping some of that. So let's see, how many people is that? Me, Chad, 7? Yeah.
Wow.
And whenever you say like the retail and he does some of the state work and that kind of thing, what, if you're allowed to say, like, what exactly are you doing for states whenever you have a contract for them?
Yeah, so the same type of thing. I don't know exactly what their project is and like why they need the aging done. So I'm sure that varies. And I don't ask, I don't really get too much into what they're actually doing with those ages, but we do the same thing as we provide an age for them.
Okay.
And yeah, they can be a little bit more lenient on turnaround time. And so it's best for me to assign those to Vipin because I don't want anything that's rush having to be put on his plate, because he is doing a lot of other research projects as well. And like I said, he represents us overseas a lot for doing different illegal wildlife trade, and we've been on some publications for him and things like that. So
cool.
So yeah, he helps us. I love Vipin. He's really, really wonderful to work with. And yeah, and then Michelle in Canada, she's super great. She's really representing us a lot in Canada. We launched in Canada a couple of years ago, and it's been difficult. The import process is challenging, so every time we import a species, it's a $93 fee. So if you were a customer in Canada, you would have to pay for our kit, pay a $93 fee, pay for whatever export fee in your province, and then pay to ship it, right? So that is like not reasonable cost. So I had the idea of putting together a Canadian hub because it's very easy to send between provinces. It's a lot easier. So some provinces, they still do have to get an export permit for their province, but just to Canada. And so it's a lot less expensive. And then she puts it all together, and then we eat the cost of the import fee, because we only pay, if there's 100 whitetail, we still only pay one $93 fee for all those whitetail coming in. So it has been challenging, but I've gotten pretty close, I guess you would say, with the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. I talk to them regularly. I just talked to my wildlife officer yesterday for another project we're working on with a university, so a totally different import project, but still teeth. And we're learning. It is difficult. I struggle with Canada. I've considered not offering service there because it is slower for the customer. I don't want our customers to have a bad experience. So we do try to accelerate their turnaround times when it comes in, because oftentimes they've had to wait for permits, and even just shipping our kits to them is a little slower. So just those types of things, it has been a challenge. And so we haven't spent that much time really pushing Canada. But I think that now that we're getting better, we're getting a better flow with our system. Michelle is amazing. She is so on top of everything that I'm like, yeah, I think it's going to be good. Like, I think it's time that we could like really push our services more there, because we have such a good flow and a good rapport with Fish and Wildlife. So
right, that trust from them, I'm sure, is a massive game changer.
Yeah, because we had a CITES. So I don't know if you're familiar with CITES at all, but basically certain animals are considered protected. And so they require specialty permits. And so bears, unfortunately, which a lot of people shoot those in Canada, bears are a CITES species, and that's a lot higher dollar. So that's like $186 fee. And it's not just the cost, but there's a special permit that has to get validated at the border of Canada before it can leave Canada. But they don't have a contact number for that office. So essentially you have to send it through FedEx, tell whatever random person's working that day that it needs to stop and be validated, and and hope they do their job. And most of the time they don't. So we had a CITES species come through. They didn't do it right. It wasn't validated. They kept the original paperwork, which we're supposed to keep. It was this huge mess. Fortunately, we got the teeth, so that was great. I mean, I put those things through, and I was like, we're aging these things right now, right? Like, they're ruined. We don't have any more. So the officer called me, and he was so kind, and was just like, we see your teeth like all the time. I know you're on the up and up. This is how you do it. And he's just really helping me because we're just trying so hard to make sure we're doing everything right.
Right.
There's huge fines, and that was what I didn't like by leaving it up to the customer too, is if they just choose to send it and they don't get caught, fine. But if you get caught, you can be in big trouble, and that falls on that customer. And I'm like, I really don't want that for them. You know what I mean? I don't want them to get in trouble just because I'm like, oh, I don't know that much about the import process. So we're just trying really hard to make sure that our Canadian customers have it quick and easy and still get the benefit of the service that we're providing.
And how many, I guess, what's your total coming from Canada number wise? Has it grown?
It's ridiculously low. It has grown. It has grown a lot, and I 100% accredit that to Michelle. Michelle's, asking for advertising budget. We're giving it to her. She's pushing it. She's pushing it on Instagram. She's doing everything that she can to try to build up the business in Canada. So yeah, it's growing. It's just slow.
Because I feel like, just based off of things you see on TV and YouTube and stuff, like there is that industry up there is a massive one.
Yeah, it is. I will say that a lot of it is like guides that are getting people from the US. So a lot of times they just bring their teeth back to the US and send them from within the US. So there's that too. But those guides, if they were to get commercial accounts and start sending them to us, they would have kind of what you're saying, the outfitter can say, oh, look at how mature these are that I'll be getting you. So they would have that benefit as well. But I think because they're very well aware of the export process, they're like, just put these in your pocket and forget all about it. And I understand that, because it is really difficult with the export process.
I would have never guessed that on teeth.
Yeah.
To be a problem like that. But I guess anything in and out of the country is
wildlife parts. Yep.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. It's been a journey. It's been really fun. I put in a way for people outside of the US and Canada to order as well. Just because we did have a handful of requests. I had someone from England, I had someone from Australia. So I have had some other global requests as well. So we did put in a way for people to order from another country. And I'm like, well, if they want to go through like all of that, that's great. But I'm gonna start. I gotta focus on what I'm doing here. Like if it's not important to you, you'll figure it out. But I gotta really focus on the US and Canada right now.
Yeah.
At some point, we'll age the whole world.
Yeah. That would be really cool to see
Let's
the
get
different
more hubs,
to see the different types of animals that you would get in.
Yeah, it would be cool. I will say I don't particularly love aging some African game. It's just more challenging. You know, that's all it is. It's like, I think that if I did it more, it probably would become less challenging, right? Because I've seen a lot of white-tailed deer teeth.
Right.
I'm talking a lot. I can probably age it like within 5 seconds at this point. Like there's teeth I gotta slow down for. And I'm like, oh, it's like a little speed bump. But I'm really good because I've seen so many. But I didn't start that way. It was really slow. It took me a long time. I'd second guess myself. I don't know, what am I doing, you know? But now I'm really, really good. And so is Vipin. He's really good as well, just from practice. But then we'll get like something weird, some weird species, and the lines are different and they're close or faint, and it's just all totally different. It's like, it's not a speed bump. It's like the brakes are on. You're on that tube for a long time.
That's pretty. Have you run into any like type of competition, or have you run into anything like that kind of over the last couple of years? Because I feel like it is something, at least in the whitetail industry, that
has them on purpose.
I guess I maybe run into, but have you seen a lot of that maybe coming up, or people like reaching out like, hey, how did you start your business kind of thing? Or...
I did have one person ask for all my protocols because they wanted to just do it for their friends. And I was like, yeah, well, I went to school for this and I spent a lot of years and a lot of money on equipment. So you can go spend a lot of years figuring it out on your own too, if you'd like. So yeah, no, I haven't really seen a lot of new up and coming. There is a new laboratory in Canada. So yeah, maybe they're doing well, maybe they're not. I don't know. I try not to focus too much on my competition, you know. It's not that I don't care, right? You know, I mean, there's a competitor that's been around since the 70s, you know, that really developed this method, and I'm sure they're great. I just know we're the best. That's the thing, and I want to be the best. I don't care what other people are doing. I don't care what other people are charging. I need to know that we're the best and that we're providing a service that's gonna be what the customer needs it to be. You know, we're not just like turn and burn, here's your age, move on with life. I mean, people are pouring their lives. Some people are pouring their lives into getting a good harvest. You know, there's people out there that are planting food plots and spending so much money doing this. It's not just an age to these folks. You know what I mean? It's just not. And so we just want to make sure that we're being the best. And I can't do that if I'm focusing on the competition. I don't care.
And I think you made that very clear with what the things that you have talked about, as in like the database and letting your customers have access to that kind of thing. Whoa, that was weird. My computer screen just went to a completely other screen.
Oh boy, we're having some technical difficulties tonight.
Some technical difficulties.
But with what, like the database and letting your customers have access to that, and like Chris brought up, and like you said, like having a outfitter saying, here's 6 years of data from deer age that these are the deer that we have harvested, and you're giving them access to that. Like, it's not like hey, give me your tooth, here's your age, all right, we're done, and we aren't doing this again until next year. Like, no, you are handing that over to them and let them do what they please with it. Like,
yeah, and you can really learn a lot about your own area. You can see how other people are doing. We do have what's called a leaderboard. So, you know, I've done some debates on how to make the leaderboard work, but I'm okay with how it's functioning at this point. So basically what that is like you can click on a state and a year and a species of interest, and it will tell you the oldest age, and it does put the stats below it, but it just says your first name and your last initial. And it does not say like the county or anything like that. So, I mean, you know, just like your fishing hole, like nobody wants to know where they're hunting basically. So we wanted to make sure that it was like functional and fun, but not revealing too much information.
Right.
And so it's just kind of a fun way. People are always trying to find themselves. And I just find it hilarious because, like I said, there's a lot of people with the same names. Like, and then they're like, I don't, you know, mine's on here or whatever. And people are going to know. And I'm just like, that might not even be yours, dude. Like, you know, because like we have so many people with the same name, you know.
Right.
But yeah, so the leaderboard's really fun. And then, like I said, we're developing some new different things that will give you even more data. And it's not only fun, it's really interesting. And I hope that by changing the portals so that people can edit things, that if they maybe, you know, we're just trying to trick us, or they're like, oh, I don't want them knowing the size of my deer. I hope that like once that's changed and they can edit it and they've already received their age, that they would like update those things so that like our database will get more and more and more accurate with real data. And that's my hope, is that it will continue to evolve. And the longer we do this and the more people do this, that I hope we can shift the narrative is what I hope. I hope that we will shift the narrative of when deer do what. That's my hope for this whole thing.
And making it that interactive thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool just to go. I mean, I've done it a few times, just going back into that portal, like you're saying, and seeing my stuff. And, you know, like you're saying, it has a, you know, my harvest has a number that I can go back and look at. And it's going to be something cool to see over the years. And like, you know, just something to show people. They can see the photo of the actual sample. It's really, it's something cool. And I love what you're doing. Needless to say, it's I think it's going to keep growing. I see nothing but growth for you and your company, and you know, it sounds like sky's the limit in the future. So I think I think you're doing something really special.
Well, thank you so much. I'm glad to hear that. It's been a journey. It's been difficult, you know, going from city girl who didn't know shit about deer basically to like now this kind of like deer expert, essentially, you know, deer aging expert for sure. It's been a journey. There's been some hard lessons learned, particularly the software. The software is in my top 5 biggest mistakes of my entire life. So I'm trying to change my perspective on it because I'm still glad we have it and we needed that database. I think that just the process, the software developer that I chose, and the things that went down, like it's one of my big regrets. But you know, I'm so fortunate to have my husband who has just helped me this whole way. You know, he's in a way, he's kind of the silent partner of this company, you know. He's becoming less silent. So he does all our social media. So you'll see him in our advertisements. He does blog posts and things like that. So he kind of handles all the social media. I got grounded from that very early on. So yeah, remember that filter we talked about? I don't have one of those. I'm not on social media. Yeah, so he helps me so much. He's helped me learn about deer and why we do this and why it's important. And he helps keep me jazzed when I'm having sad or down days or hard days or long days. And so, yeah, he's really been my chief cheerleader this whole time and an amazing partner through this. And we've become a much better team, even just recently. He was in the lab all day putting teeth in cassettes. So yeah, he's just been wonderful. And I think that that's what makes our company very unique, right? So you've got my scientific background and how much I know about tissue and science and just the way my brain works. And then you've got him he was a taxidermist for 20 years. So he's very well into the hunting community. He's a bow hunter, and He also is really good with marketing, and he's teaching himself new skills and video editing, and he's learning all kinds of things. And so just the way that we work together has just, I think, made the company really blossom.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's so cool. What a cool little story there. And you said you're in Missoula. Is that kind of where you see yourself in the company kind of forever? You got any, you said you're from the city. You any plans to move back to the city?
There's not a chance in hell I would move back to the city. I really think the city's already too big for me, and it's not that big. So no, I would probably stay in Missoula at least half the year. I would like to snowbird, but I'm really setting up my life to be able to be done remotely. So like I mentioned, the digital slide scanners, I do not have to ever step foot in work to read slides or answer emails. So if I wanted to work remotely, I could. And so I really see myself hopefully snowbirding, but I think maybe 6 to 8 years. I have a lot more work I want to do that is boots on the ground, and I have a new staff member that started in October, who I just love her. I just love her. She is a mini me. She's like everything I wanted. And so I think that we'll continue working really well together and then build our staff more so that things are even more automated and even more tightly tracked and better, to where I feel really comfortable working remotely. I'm a little bit of a control freak, so I don't know how well that will go, because I kind of like to be abreast of everything that's going on. But yeah, I'd like to get, in the winter months, I would like to get someplace warm and beachy. I can put my toes in the sand and read slides. That's my goal. Like I'll never probably stop working, honestly. I don't know what I would do. I took a 10-day vacation recently, and it was great. Like I love my vacation, but it was really weird. When I got back to work, I was so excited. And like I got to work and I was so happy. And I was like, oh my God, I missed you guys so much. And they're like, we missed you too. And I just, like, my staff is really close. We all just really care for each other. It's definitely a family. It's a lot of work. It's hard, but we make it fun, so it's good. I don't think I'll ever stop working. I don't know. Maybe I would consider maybe selling the company at some point once I felt like I was ready to stop working, but I just enjoy it. I like seeing the changes. I like that sense of accomplishment when we do something cool and people get stoked about it. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't think I will leave Missoula permanently. I will say that. Montana. I should just say Montana. I don't think I'll leave Montana permanently. I'm definitely setting up a permanent roots here for forever game, but I think I could see myself maybe traveling in the winter months.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah, that's nothing other to say than congratulations, because there's not too many people that go to work every day and they're excited about it. So
yeah.
When you're able to do something, you're
freakishly obsessed with my job. I think I actually am codependent with my job. If anything, it's like when I leave work, I'm like, ugh, what am I doing now? Like, this is weird. I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to work.
Everyone runs out of the office, and then there's people that are loving it. Like that's what people try to find, and that's awesome that you found that. Like,
it's fun. It's a ton of work. It's very tedious. I mean, just going from kit to slide to age, it's a lot. It's a lot of work, and that's why we put in the portals, just really hoping that, it would kind of reduce some of the man hours a little bit. Just, everybody wants to call and be like, oh, did you get my tooth? And I'm like, oh, just check your portal. If it says not received, it's not received for sure. For sure. We definitely don't have it. Unless, of course, you put it in manually, because right now our system has a glitch. If you put in an old deer that you had aged with us previously, it'll say not received until I add it to a batch. But that's a software glitch that will be gone soon, hopefully. So I don't have to worry about that much longer.
Yeah, like a timeline for the new software, and I guess when you kind of expect to see some of those new portal options coming through.
Dude, I knew you were going to ask me that.
Gotcha.
Every time I predict when it's going to be done, it's not. And so I'm like, eh. So we just sent off numerous changes to the developer, and he thinks he'll have them done in about a week. So then we'll have to spend some time really going through it. And then we have to decide if we're going to finish the admin side before launching the customer side or not. So I don't know how well the customer portion will integrate with our existing admin side. And if it doesn't, we'll have to wait until we've redeveloped the admin side and then launch them both at once. And that could take a couple months. My goal for myself is to have it all done before busy season and the glitches worked out so that any weird software stuff happens when we're slow and not when it's already like super stressful just from the volume. So that's kind of our goal, is to have it out by this fall. And if it's working fine with our existing admin, it could be sooner. So.
Well, I'll be praying and my fingers will be crossed for you that it happens sooner rather than later, so you have one less thing to worry about, and hopefully it all runs smooth. And
it's super cool. It's a new design. Like, it's just a little bit different, so the design's a little bit kind of more hip, in my opinion. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. So, yep. And then after that, we'll be able to start adding even more cool stuff, because that'll be like done off our plate. And then maybe next year we're interested in maybe getting an app. So
I was just gonna ask. I was like, I don't know if I want to open that can of worms or what, but like,
yeah, even though I got burned, I did get burned. I really like our new developer, and I think he would do a good job. So yeah, we're kicking around the idea of doing an app. I'd like to do some games. That's what I really want to do. Is I want to do some games where people can like place bets on each other or like compete or something, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to like work out some cool stuff to do some interactive games for people, because you have no idea how many people call me like, this one's really important. I have money riding on this one. So I want to try to like implement something like that. That would be really fun for people.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the sky's the limit. I mean, yeah. The games would be pretty neat to be able to like, or like have like followers, or like have like friends be able to see what they've aged. Oh, that's be neat.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's like exactly what we're planning. I mean, we're even putting in like a way to share ages with people, like at a minimum with the portals, because a lot of people send in stuff for other people. And so like I'm like, well, how can they still see it, but so I'm trying to find a way to like efficiently be able to share results with people. So yeah.
Wow. Wow.
I'm going back a little bit, but my brain goes that way. Like with the leaderboard and stuff, like, do you have certain states that you are like, okay, there's a clear like leader in how many get sent in and they're the oldest on average? Or like,
I mean, it's possible we have that. I will say, just because I don't really get much time to play with it on the customer side, usually I'm like, is this thing working right? Is it clicking the right state? Is this the right year? And I'm like, yeah, that's right. Okay. And then I move on, because I'm like, I'm just so busy making sure everything's functioning, so that I don't really get too much time to look at that kind of stuff. So there maybe is, and as the software is taken more off of my plate and we get, additional staff and things kind of starts moving out, those are all the kinds of things that the questions I'll be able to answer, and we'll have more data too. So I will be able to kind of start pulling some of that and putting it together. And hopefully with new software changes, we can even have spots where the customers can pull that data themselves,
Yeah. I can't imagine sitting there and looking at like all of that data at like
it's a lot.
Yeah.
If you ever want to give anyone a sneak peek, I would be more than happy to be a great volunteer for you, just to look.
So crazy. It's so crazy. There's so many lines of data, and it's like a huge database. Like it's crazy.
And like the different subcategories you could like break it down into, and like
yes, it's a lot. And so yeah, that's kind of what we're working towards, is just stuff that's usable and fun, and that's the goal anyways. Baby
very
steps.
interesting.
Baby steps,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, I will. We need to let everyone know there's a buy one get one free.
Yes.
Now, is it? When did that start? When does it end?
It started on the 8th and it ends on Father's Day. So on the 16th, it's over. So we're just doing a big Father's Day sale, and so people can get prepped for season and things like that. So yeah, it's the biggest sale we've ever done, and buy one get one is definitely a really good deal for our company.
Well, no pressure on me. I'm gonna have to get this edited and posted here the next day.
Yeah.
So everyone can take advantage of the. And there's a link, I assume, on your Instagram. Do you have Facebook, all that stuff?
We do. We have Instagram, Facebook, and I do believe there is a link on there. Yes. So
All right.
that's Chad's department, but I'm pretty sure there is.
Or maybe that's Chad after this. Hey, make sure there's a link out there. I'll make sure to share it for.
He did an ad, and I think he did a post about it and everything else. So
Perfect. Okay.
I will definitely be purchasing this year.
Yeah.
excellent.
Sold.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, very cool. And we won't keep you too much longer. I just want to say again, super happy for you. It's been great to meet you. My experience on your website and through this whole aging process has been very eye-opening. I want to thank Matt Rogalski for introducing me to Dear Age. He's a big customer of yours.
I saw that he was on your podcast, and I recognized his name, and I'm like, I think that's our customer because his name reminds me of Mike Wazowski from
yes
from Monsters Inc. So I was like, every time I see his name, I'm like, Matt Wazowski.
That's hilarious.
I think that guy was on our. I think that guy's one of our customers.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, Matt is actually the one that introduced me to Dear Age.
Cool.
He's a big advocate. He sends in, at least from my understanding, he sends in multiple deer a year from neighbors, and he travels around. So he's very fascinated by it all. I know he's going to love this.
Cool.
So I wanted to, Matt, if you're listening, probably are. Thank you.
Got to know I always recognize his name when it comes, and they come on the little slides too. So every time I read his slides, I go, Wazowski.
Yes, that's awesome. So that's So thanks to Matt. Thanks to you for putting in the effort and the energy and being so passionate about something that I think is so cool. And I see, again, the sky being the limit for you and your company. And I hope it does just continue to grow and explode like it sounds like it has been over the past couple of years. I see no reason for it not to keep growing. So kudos to you and give yourself a pat on the back as you're kicking ass and definitely working hard, and it's paying off.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's nice to hear that. I really appreciate it. And I'm happy to hear that my goal is being achieved and everyone is really loving it.
Yeah,
that's my goal, is to have just nothing but happy customers. And so far that's, been almost exclusively the case. Almost.
I'm sure there's some knuckleheads out there, but
yeah, there always is.
There's always a couple knuckleheads out there.
You never know what people have going on. So it's like, well, whatever.
That's true. Very true. Very true. Well, again, won't keep you very long. Just again, thank you very much. Looking forward to all those updates, and I hope I hope the sky's the limit because I see no other way other than that.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And Kevin, it was nice to meet you as well. I appreciate the good questions from you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Very interesting. Like I said, Chris got me into the entire aging thing, and I'm very excited to use your services and learn more about it as we go. So
awesome. You're going to be hooked for life. It's really fun. People that they'll start and they'll just kind of be like, yeah, I guess I'll see how old it is. And they're like, I'm going to do platinum next year. Yeah. Get hooked because it's just cool and it's fun,
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for taking the time. And I hope you are recovering well from your procedure and everything. And I hope everything continues to grow.
Well, thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I had a great time. Sorry about all the technical difficulties. You're going to have more editing than you're used to, but I'm sure it'll turn out wonderfully.
Yes, yeah, I think it will. I think we'll be all right.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys